The question for this week is, what will my child have missed out on in sex ed because they haven't been at school for 4 months? And welcome back to another episode of Sitting in a Car. I'm Sarah Sproul and I sit in a car with you each week answering a question to help you raise your confident and caring young person who respects themselves and the people around them. It's a great question, and what's wonderful about learning is that our children don't learn everything there is to learn just within the classroom, right? There are lots of other places they learn, but let's face it, they haven't been in the classroom a good few months now. At the time we're recording, it's July, so I don't know what month it is that you're listening to this, but things were hard. So let's work out what's been going on with sex ed and what they might have missed out on. I remember going to a school last year. It was somewhere down in Cork, really close to an idyllic beach. The sun was shining, the sky was blue, the birds were singing, life was good. And I'd spent a day in this national school and had gone down to paddle in the pool, not the pool, the beach, before I drove back to Dublin. And while I was down there, just letting myself decompress after a busy day, the actual class that I'd been teaching had ambled down the lane and were also running around on the beach to finish up their school day. And as I was going back to my car, they all yelled out and they were waving and saying, "Bye, Sarah, see you, Sarah, thank you, Sarah." And I remembered that story as I was thinking about this question, because one of the things, and this is point one, that children get when they do a relationship and sexuality education day is they get to hear an adult who is really calm and unflustered and informed and just basically relaxed about things to do with puberty and bodies and babies and genitals and all those things. So the first thing that your child may have missed out on because they haven't been at school this year for relationship and sex ed is the modeling that comes from an adult like that talking about all the things in the curriculum. Because when an adult talks about things very calmly and confidently, the child starts to see that, these conversations can happen in a very matter-of-fact way. And some children may already know that, but some children may not as well. And the more adults show up in front of our child who can talk about bodies, puberty, and sex in a very matter-of-fact, non-scary, non-awkward way, the easier it is for our child to be able to adopt that sort of manner for themselves. Point two. Your child, unfortunately, will have missed out on the opportunity to sit in a classroom of children their own age who know them well and hear words like penis, scrotum, vulva, vagina, clitoris, labia, all those things. And when they hear those words in the context of their friends, what starts happening, and this is what I'm observing in my work anyway, is that children start talking to each other about those things. And particularly by the end of the day, I run a circle where we get to talk about just periods for people that have vulvas and vaginas. And what I notice is, from the beginning of the session to the end of the session, how much more willing they are to start talking to each other about things, and they share stories about embarrassing moments, and they're all going, "Oh yeah, that happened to me too." And the same thing with the lads. When we go into a circle, the same sort of thing. So that peer support, your kids may have missed out on that this year, and it's just one of those things. Point number three, let's talk about the curriculum. In Ireland, which is where I work and live, they will have missed out on human reproductive anatomy. So that's things like all the internal names for things and all the external names for the genitals and the fallopian tubes and all that sort of stuff. They will have missed out on human reproduction, so the menstrual cycle, where sperms are made, where eggs are made, how that all works. They will have missed out on puberty education, so that will be things like what happens to our body during puberty and what is very normal and how do we look after ourselves now that our body is changing. And they will have missed out on intercourse. And when I'm talking about intercourse in the Irish curriculum anyway, at the moment, that is only a penis and a vagina. And it's only in the context of creating new humans. And you know how limited that is. But look, there you go. That's what they will miss out on from the curriculum perspective this year if they haven't been at school. So let's recap. What will your child have missed out on because COVID-19 has meant they haven't been able to be in the classroom? From a relationship and sexuality education perspective, they will have missed out on the modeling of easygoing, relaxed conversations about that part of being human. They will have sadly missed out on learning about that stuff with their peers, which means they're more likely to talk to each other about all that sort of thing. And they will have missed out on all the things that the curriculum covers. So basic everyday information, they'll have missed out on that too. So here's the thing. There are resources online you can help find for your child. The one I recommend is amaze.org. I'll put the link into the notes below or above or wherever you're watching this. If you go onto that, you'll find different categories of videos that you can either watch with your child if your child is much younger, but if your child is 11 and 12, they might want to watch on their own. And that was Sitting in a Car for another week, where I've answered a question to help you raise your confident and caring young person who respects themselves and the people around them. And while I've got you here, can I ask for your help? Would you like, repost or subscribe to Sitting in a Car? When you do that, other parents just like you can find the information and support they need even easier. Thanks for that, and bye for now.